I want to take a moment today to discuss the Undetectable Firearms Act. Now, the Undetectable Firearms Act has been in the media a lot lately because it is up for renewal, and it looks like it is going to be renewed. A lot of people are running around really upset saying this is a huge setback for the firearms industry, this is a huge setback for 3D printing, this is just a big defeat for us as a whole. Now first, let's talk about what the Undetectable Firearms Act is. It's basically just a bill that says you can't make a gun that doesn't have, I think it's a little more than 3.5 ounces of metal in it so it can be detectable by a metal detector, and it has to be in the basic shape of a firearm so that it is visibly a firearm. It's pretty much a, not that really intense of a law. It just basically is trying to prevent guns being created that can be easily snuck through metal detectors and scanners. In fact, when the law was written, this kind of technology didn't even really exist. This was just a big overreaction to Glock pistols. At the time, the law was more politics than it was practicality. It really didn't have any practical purposes, and it really still doesn't today. It really doesn't show any need for this law, but it's really not that bad of a law. But the big question is this a defeat for the gun community? Is this a defeat for the firearms industry? Before we can even answer that question, let's look at a couple of different things. One thing we need to look at is, do we as a gun community even want an undetectable firearm? I don't think we do. That's not something we are searching for. That is not our goal. We don't want guns we can sneak into places we're not supposed to have them. We want the right to carry them into places, but we don't want to sneak into anywhere. We want to be open about our ability to carry a gun and defend ourselves. So obtaining an undetectable firearm is not really our goal. It's not something we're really looking to do. I don't think even the most adamant among us would say that not being able to carry a firearm onto private property when the people that own the property say not to is somehow a large infringement on our right to self-defense. We can just choose not to go there usually. Now, you can say that air travel is something different. It's a necessary part of today's life. So we can fight to say we should be allowed to have guns on airplanes, but I don't think any of us would fight to say we have to have undetectable guns. I think we would just say we want to have the right to carry firearms on airplanes. So we don't really want undetectable firearms, but what we do want is we do want the legal right to explore burgeoning technologies, to expand our technological base for manufacturing, etc. And 3D printing does a lot of this. We want the right to be able to explore this without excessive regulation. And what we definitely don't want is overreaching, vaguely written legislation that has consequences far beyond the intended purpose of the bill. We don't want things written into these loosely written laws that say one thing that can be interpreted another way and can be used to damage rights we already have and rights we should always have, while not really doing anything to stop anything new from happening. And I think that was the biggest fear of this bill, the way they wanted to expand it. They wanted to expand it in such a way that they could have used this bill to just ban lots of things, including polymer-framed handguns. Now, is there any danger in undetectable firearms technology and 3D printing technology? Well, of course there's danger. There's always dangers in new technologies. There's always ways it can be abused. And let's not fail to mention to all the people that are scared of these types of new technology and the ways they can be misused, the technology to create them isn't the only thing evolving, so is the technology to detect them. The modern scanners they use at airports now, they can detect a plastic gun. But like I said, when you are dealing with new technologies, there's always a chance for them to be misused. What you have to do is you have to weigh the potential for misuse against the potential good, the things that they can do that are beneficial for society. And you have to realize that this misuse of 3D printing technology for undetectable firearms, it's such a small, isolated chance of risk that has really shown no actual real-world applications yet, that it really doesn't justify beating down the science simply because a lot of people are frightened of guns. And let's face it, a lot of things we do every day have potential risk involved. There is danger anytime there's freedom. That's just part of being free. I'm not going to put myself in a place where I have to lie to defend my position, because to do that I'd have to say that metal detectors have never stopped a crime. Well, metal detectors have stopped multiple crimes. I mean, anybody that's been in law enforcement knows that pretty much on a daily basis they do. They stop people that have ill intent from actually getting away with it. They get caught because of metal detector scanners every day. So there is, a reason for these things. I'm not going to lie and say that they don't work, because they do work in some way. They do stop a small segment of the population from doing bad things. And let's face it, there's lots of things that are illegal. There's lots of things that are heinous and should be illegal. But you don't make these illegal acts illegal by banning the means to do them. You make the act itself illegal. You don't ban the tool. Because let's face it, a lot of us have a lot of tools right now in everyday life that can be used for very heinous acts. We don't perform those acts because they're not acceptable in our society, they're illegal, they're something we don't need to do. But if that society was ever taken from us, we'll be glad we have those tools. Because some of the things that are illegal now will not only become not illegal when there's no rule of law, they'll become essential for survival. So if you remove the tools from us now and society ever takes away the luxuries we have, we would not have the means we needed to survive. But that's really getting off topic, and I kind of want to get back to the main question here. Is this a defeat for the gun community? Is this a defeat for the firearms manufacturing community? No, it's not really a defeat for either of those things. This is still the same old ridiculous law that really doesn't do anything. They didn't get anything added to it that they wanted added to it. Now, is it a beneficial law? No, I don't really see it as being that beneficial. I mean, maybe a little bit, because like I said, if you could go out and buy an undetectable gun at every gun store, any idiot or bozo that was intent on doing something illegal, like sneaking a gun on a plane and hijacking a plane, it would make it easier for them. But, it's really not that big of a risk, I don't think. I don't think that's happening all that often to make it worth passing a big national law for. So in the end, nothing new was added, no technologies are squashed. This isn't going to affect the gun manufacturing industry. It's really not going to affect the 3D printing industry. They still just have to abide by those little rules of having a little metal and having a gun shape in them. So we're no worse off than we were before. Allowing it to expire might have made some big differences, but I don't really think even allowing it to expire would have made really that much of a big difference in practical life. So this isn't a big defeat for the gun community. So I really don't think it's that big of a deal, but it is something that we need to keep our eyes on, because they really did want to make this a bill something that they could use against us. So when things like this come up, we have to pay attention, but this time I don't think we lost anything.